Okay, comma, then same thing, weights. Select those weights. And this will do. However, you have so many other cells in the column, so don't forget whether you need to have a absolute cell reference. So the weight must have an absolute cell reference. Then autofill all the way down. Right? So separate by comma. But one thing you need to be careful, to see that there's a reason I laid out horizontally in terms of those weights, okay? Because the value of the item is, they are also laid out horizontally, as you can see, okay? If these values are laid out vertically, then this weight must be showing as a vertically, okay? So that's something you need to watch out. Other than that, pretty much straightforward. All right? So that's step F. Then one more thing in this worksheets, create a pie chart using column B. So I'm sure you're going to see this column chart creation in the tests, because creating a pie chart, not column chart, pie chart is a little different from other charts, because, you know, other charts you can just select them, then you can, you know, put it into chart, format it. It's pretty straightforward, but pie chart must have some different selection. Here's the example. If you go to column B, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a pie chart using the year status, maybe it's freshman, sophomore, junior, so senior. So you have 4 different values. Then you're going to make a pie, then you're going to show those pie shares, right? So that's why it's a little different from other chart. So we're going to select column B, see whether we can do it right away in Excel. So typically what you're going to do is to select the column, you go to insert, you go to chart area, you can go to directly for pie, or you can go to recommended charts. Let's go to recommended chart, but Excel doesn't have a recommended charts, right? Let's see whether we can do clustered column chart, which is just column chart. See whether we can just change it to pie chart. So I'm going to go to Design tab, then change chart type, then go to pie. There, pie. That's probably easiest way. Because, let me do it again. I highlight column B, those, then we go to insert. Rather than going to pie chart, because if you click pie chart, that's what you're going to get. Okay, it's simply repeat it, doesn't give you correct pie that you wish. Okay. Of course, there are ways you can manipulate, but you need to do it manually, you know, in and out, bring in and out. And so it's kind of headache. So that's why I just did it. I went to the recommended chart. Then whatever Excel recommended, click it. Then it goes to the, this is a pivot table, what we call it. See that pivot chart, pivot table? Excel create a pivot table automatically. With the pivot table, it can create a chart. Without pivot table, it's kind of taking time. See that this table already created, Excel? Then with this, then you can create a pie chart. From this setting, you cannot just create it right away, because there's no way you can figure how many sophomore, how many juniors, how many seniors are there. So that's what you want to do. Okay, where did it go? There. Okay. Then from here, you just switch the chart type to pie. Of course, you may want to show something else like a label, like a percent. Then you just do from this label option, percentage, outside add. Okay, for example. But again, it's not just creating by itself, but you need to work through the pivot table. Okay. But we have not done pivot table yet, so that's why I'm not going to show you step by step, but I'm just want to show you quicker way to do it. Another way to create a pie chart is that I'm going to go back sheet 1. So you highlight column B. Well, before you create a column B, then you can manually count it. For example, freshman and sophomore, and junior, senior. Then you count them. Okay, freshman, I don't know how many. Well, it's only it's not more than, it's only 30 something, so it's feasible, right? But if you have like 300, let's say you have like a 1,000, there's no way you can count within time limit, right? So if it's, not too many, like this example, then you can count them. Let's say we have freshmen, I count 3, sophomore, I count, and let's say 10, and junior, I say 10, senior, maybe 9. Okay. Then with this, you can create a pie chart. So select this table, then you go to insert, go to pie directly, or recommended chart. There's a pie, as you can see. So you can edit just like that, right? So that's how you're going to create a pie chart. And you need to understand this step. Otherwise, just simply highlighting column B and creating pie chart is not going to work like other chart. All right? And let me know if you have any questions. All right, so I'm giving you plenty of a warning for creating pie chart. Okay, sheets number 2. It is about F function and what we have here, combo chart. Things like that, okay. Sheets 2, there you go. Well, sheets 2 has already entered some numbers, formulas. Don't worry about that, okay? So you're not going to test against those, PMP function, whatever those characters. This simply just served us as, use as a base number so that we can create a chart and things like that. So direction says just enter given numbers, in this example 300,000. Then we're going to increment this number by 2,000 as you go down. So take that, add 2,000, increase by 2,000, all the way to 29. So the number will be filled out just like that. So given this data, we're going to use if function, okay, by comparing those numbers. So what it's saying is, the idea of these numbers these are the loan amount, like mortgage amount. Then this is monthly payment based on this loan amount. Then this is the total cost because you have to pay for interest amount or other charges. But here's how many years, 15 years. Then here's the interest rate, annual interest rate, 4.5. But be careful, this must be percentage. So I want to check whether it's percentage, but it's not. See that it's general, meaning this is like a 400. Yeah, it's like a 400%, so which is no good. So we're going to make it percentage 4.5%. So either type it in as 4.5% or 0.045, either way. So make sure it is a percentage. Then see the difference now. 300,000 monthly payment is 2,294. Total costs become $413,000 because of all those interest. Now we can compare those numbers. Okay, so the direction says we're going to compare this monthly amount, monthly payment. So monthly payment is greater than 2% of total costs. Okay, so that's what this direction says. If this is satisfying, so B9 is greater than 2% of total cost, then you want to show certain amount, which is 2% of, I don't know why it says 2% of loan amount, but then we'll just follow that. 2% of loan amount. Otherwise, it will show as something like a within range, meaning I think it's affordable. I think its idea is trying to find this monthly payment is affordable for this person. Okay, so the line is 2%. Okay, so it's set as a 2% is greater than 2%. That's too much, so it will just return the amount. Otherwise, meaning less than 2%, which will become within range. So it will give it as a within range. Okay, and that's it, based on the direction. So in this first one, looks like within range, meaning less than 2%. Then we're going to autofill. Looks like all satisfying, less than 2%. Comparing this amount against 2% of total costs. Okay. So that's kind of what you need to follow in terms of if function. Doesn't necessarily use this kind of example, but anytime you need to use if function, it's giving a certain condition, comparing one against the other, or or what it is satisfying certain directions. Then you say one thing or the other. So if function is more like a, like if or else, if you're taking some sort of programming language. So this is one example of if function, and if function carries only 3, or it could be more than 3, but the minimum number of variable within if function is 3, separated by commas. Okay, the condition, then the second variable, the value or item that if this is satisfying. If this is not satisfying, then it's gonna return third variable. In this example, it's gonna return within range as a text. Okay. All right, so as you can see, this formula doesn't mean anything, just help us to carry out if function. And also ask about using median function, but I'm going to just keep median function. Then the other one is using combo chart. Okay, so looks like we're going to use those 3 columns to create a combo chart. So select those 3 columns, go to insert to create a combo chart, go to recommended charts, or go to all chart. So on the all chart, you have combo chart, which is at the bottom, which is same as combination chart. Then you can select which chart you want to choose. Okay, because as you can see, you can choose different type of chart for each data series. Okay. However, you can also do the secondary axis so that on the right-hand side, you can have it another axis. So like monthly payment. So this right side will read with monthly payment. Left axis will follow loan amount and total costs. So you need to read it just like that. And in terms of chart type, I want to make it loan amount and total cost the same type. So probably I want to make it as a column. This one I want to make it as a line. Okay, so that's what we're going to see. If you click OK. So what we have is here is this line. You're going to read from this side. And those column chart, you're going to read from the left side because this is what we call secondary axis, the vertical axis here. Okay. Then not only this combo chart, but on other chart, you need to understand how to edit this axis values. So double click on the axis, for example, then you can change the minimum, which is the lowest number, maximum number, major, that's the number between this unit. Okay. Minor, minor is just, it's going to create too many, too many items. So we're not going to work with minor, but those three things you should be able to modify. Okay. And also display unit, since we are in here in axis option, display unit. So then let's say you have like so many here. You have so many zeros and you want to reduce the zeros, then axis option, then you go to display unit, then you want to make it thousands so that you can kind of reduce the number of zeros, as you can see. So this number basically represent with 1,000 units, right? So that's another thing you can do with axis option. Same thing, not only vertical, you can do horizontal axis, double click, so that you can work with horizontal axis. I think we don't have to change these numbers, I guess, because there's no maximum or minimum. Okay. And I think there's another one we can do with modifying charts later on. So I think that's about it in terms of combo chart. Okay. Let's go back. Combo chart. See anything I missed? Combo chart, chart style, title, major unit. I just talk about major and minimum and maximum. Primary vertical, which is the left-hand side. Secondary vertical, that's the right-hand side of the chart. Okay. Data label. Let's say the data label, dollar amount outside in both data series. Okay. There's 3 charts are going, so let's just add those data label to only the column. Okay. First column, right? Which is total cost. So I'm going to go to chart element, data label, it's right there. Outside and is it outside and? Doesn't look like. Oh, shit. Yeah, it is outside and. Okay. And same thing with the loan amount. Select. Outside and. Okay. So you can show data label. Well, you don't want to show all of them because it can be pretty hard to read sometimes. So that's how you're going to insert data label to your chart. And what else we have? It sheets number regional sheets. Okay. We're going to create a line chart there. And then we're going to work with plot area and chart area. And okay, so let's do that. B4, F4. And go to regional right here. So B4 through B16. Then I'm going to press Control and hold it on my keyboard. Then I'm going to select total so that I can select non-adjacent cells, non-adjacent columns rather, B and F. I'm going to go to Insert, Recommended Charts, Line Chart. You can go to Recommended Chart or go to All Chart and select Line Chart, which is the same thing. Okay. Okay. By the way, I think I skipped some of those steps that you need to save it as separate or new worksheets. So you can just make it chart floating around like this, or you can make it as a new worksheet. For example, if the direction says you're going to create a chart and save it as a new worksheet, then you're going to select the chart you just created. You can either click Move Chart, then you can click New Sheets and name it like a line in this example. Then click OK, then it's going to go to Line Chart as a new worksheet. And then just, set up this entire worksheet just like this. Okay. So that's another way to create a chart if you don't want to make it those chart floating onto existing worksheets. Okay. Then the direction says apply different background color. This is the chart area. And if you click inside, that's the plot area. So very specific to your data series. But this is entire area, that's the chart area. Okay. So you can separate them by applying different color or shade. So I just select chart area, I'll go to fill and say maybe texture, different texture like this. Okay. Then I want to separate plot area. So I'm going to just select plot area, right click, fill, then how about white? So that you can see that this chart area, plot area separated. Okay. You don't have to do it all the time, but if you wish to do it. But let's say that's the direction. Okay. So that's how you're going to do it. Then in terms of, I don't think we have it in this example, but that's from the chapter. It says you need to work on marker. The marker is showing as a spot on the data series. So what you're going to do is, in this example, click line, which is our data series. Then you go to double click it, then you go to this bucket, which is fill and line. Then you click marker, the marker option. You can do either automatic or built-in. I click build automatic. Then you click fill so that you can fill in this marker, which is kind of oval. Then I'm going to click solid fill so that I can fill like this white, which is default, I think. Yeah. So that's what I mean by marker. Okay. Line marker. So you show how exact spot made changes. Okay. So that's coming from the chapter. But I'm not sure we're going to have it in the test. But just in case if show up, that's how you're going to do it. Just click the line or data series. Okay. Actually double click. Then if you format or options show up, you go to bucket, which is fill and line. You go to marker option, automatic or built-in, either way. Then fill is important. Fill, solid fill, then you select color. think I selected line fill, red, order. Okay, oops, I didn't mean to. But anyway, that's how you're going to do it. So that's the line chart, and work with plot area, chart area, and the line marker, right? And here's the last one, workday function and network days function. Okay, sheets number 4. There we go. All right. Okay, so sheets number 4. So we have dates, kind of random dates are given in column A. Then column B, by using network days, we're going to find number of working days between these two dates. It's pretty simple with this example, but if it's like a few months or 1 year difference, then really hard to find how many working days involved within two different spots, because you need to think about holidays, weekends, and those items. So 5 working days between these two dates. Okay. Here's the syntax. Pretty simple for workday network days function. Then I'm going to just autofill the rest of the column, 4-day, 10-day, and all that. Okay. I don't want to change formatting, so I'm going to click fill without formatting. Oh, still changed. All right. I think I accidentally changed the format. General. Okay. Now, that was network days. So the other function is equal workday function. So workday function allow it to find the date you're going to come back from holidays, weekends, vacations. If, for example, you take a break from today, vacation, like 2 weeks, then what's the date I'm going to come back from this 2 weeks vacation? Again, because of holidays, weekends, it's not easy to, find out right away. So here's the workday function. Let me go back to a function. Let's use this state as a starting date. Comma, how many days we're talking about? 5 days. Let's say 5 days from this date. This return the general number, so we need to change it to date format, which is short date, will be April 6th. So I'm going to try to match exactly what we have. So that's why I entered 5 days. The rest of them, I think, should be same. It's going to return same dates as we have, right? As you can see. Oh, it's a little different. Oh, okay, so it made it all 5 days. That's why dates are different from column A. So 5 days from previous cell, that's, returned. So that's the example from network days and workday function. Okay. Network days with S, workday has no S. All right. So that's the last worksheets. Oh, there's one more at the bottom, histogram, using column B. Okay, let's do this column B. We're going to use the column B, create a histogram, insert, chart, histogram, where's histogram? Right there, there. The histogram gives you a distribution of the data you have, and you can control, or you can manage number of columns. Actually, that's what we call number of bins in histogram. So you can control how many bins you want to show. Then you just double click on the horizontal axis. Then there's a bin width. So you can determine, the width of this bin, or how many bins. Right now it's 4, so you want to make it 5 bins. You can do so. And overflow bin, underflow bin, so they can control the right side or left side of the histogram. Okay, so that's the histogram creation. I think that's it. Any questions? Anybody? Question? Comments?
I don't have any. Already on the call.
All right. I think first part I didn't record it. So, if you're seeing this video, if you have questions on worksheets number 1, then let me know. Specifically like a round function and VLOOKUP function. Okay.
Will you post this tonight? The recording?
Like I said, I think so some part like here, sheets number 1 kind of missed because I just